Hi, so here my internship is working at a store called South Moon Under. I'm their intern, so I work in store and also virtually. So the process I used to search for this internship, a lot of the resources I used came from the school. So as a student, we receive emails like once every week called Retl Hot Jobs of the Week. That's how I got one of my internship. So I guess just reading your email and using that also really helps. And then also going to the Career Expo also helps as well. If I could give any students advice, I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but honestly, just using the resources the school gives you, that's how I've gotten every single job I've had through school, internships, my practicum, and also my future job at Belk I also got through the school. So yeah, I would definitely do that. And then things I've known earlier in the process. So actually as a freshman, I did work this job at South and Under over the summer. And I didn't even know what the practicum was, and I could have already completed my practicum basically if I had known what it was. So I guess just like staying on top of your academics and understanding the practicum and the internship thing and that it's required for the school, I think that's also really important. So you kind of get your classes aligned and your schedule aligned, and so that everything kind of falls into place. And then something I also found surprisingly difficult. So personally, my internship is hybrid. It was sometimes hard to understand. Obviously here in the video I am in store, but the hybrid part was a little bit challenging. So I think if you are able to have an in-person internship, that would be really beneficial to you. But also it is important to work in a hybrid setting as well, as that is becoming more popular. Okay, so I actually also had the same thing of like loving to shop and wanting to be a buyer, and I actually do have a future job with Belk as a buyer. But I would tell students that do think like loving to shop is the job of a buyer and stuff and certain dream jobs. I would say, especially, and you'll kind of learn this as you take your classes, is that there's a lot of accounting that goes into buying. There's a lot of more specific details, and it's also a lot of analyzing trends and things. It's really interesting to kind of study buying, and like as I said earlier, you'll learn this in class, but like studying the history of trends and the background of trends and just the history of fashion is also a really cool aspect to take in and really understand it, in order to kind of understand the future of buying and the future of fashion. But yeah, I would just honestly say this is a very simple thing to say, but for example, in my internship, seeing new trends come into the store and also connecting it with what I learned in school, just taking in every single bit of information that you learn in your internship and at school and connecting it really, really helps you apply it for the future. So the work I did in this internship varied a lot. As I mentioned earlier, it was a hybrid role. So first starting out, I've had this job since I was in high school. This has been like my summer kind of home job, or when I come home from school, like I work this job at South and Under, but I normally work it as a sales associate. So when I talked to my boss about wanting an internship, we kind of saw what we could take as a sales associate and make it a step up. With that being said, I now meet with corporate a lot more. I'm on the computer a lot more, which I have a video of me doing right now of doing like corporate work and stuff. I meet a lot more with my boss, and we kind of just go through the nitty-gritty of it all. Whereas a sales associate, there's not a lot of pre-planning that goes into it. You know, you show up for your shift and you work it. You kind of get told as you go throughout your shift what you do. But in my internship, I have weekly meetings with corporate to talk about revisualizing the store. I do inventory a lot more in the stock room, which is another video of what I'm showing right now of our inventory that we get. Me and my boss are kind of planning a lot more about in-store events and pop-up shops we want to do, which I never really did as a sales associate. So it's also just a lot more computer work, and you're working a lot more with people higher up to plan things out. So that's the actual work I do in my internship. So that's more of like the in-person role I have in my internship, and then switching to more of the hybrid role that I have. So with the hybrid part, that's more of where I kind of am shopping online on our store and also on competitor stores and looking at what trends they have, what trends we should bring in. That's more kind of like studying the store in a way. So I kind of look at it as a school thing where I'm seeing what we lack in, what we can do better in, how do we get this trend here, or what's something that's not selling. That's kind of where I do more of like the computer work at home, where I don't really have to necessarily meet with my boss all the time, and I can kind of come up with these things myself, and then I'll meet with her and to talk about my findings. So that's more of the hybrid part. We'll do like, when I'm hybrid, we'll do a Zoom call probably like once a week, and then I'm on my own doing little tasks and kind of bettering the store as much as I can from home. So the best aspect of the work I did when I was working in store, I really loved working with the customers. I feel like everybody says that. Oh, that's my puppy, sorry. But specifically, I loved working the fitting rooms. So like bringing someone the perfect size if they're shopping for a special event and bringing them something that they never thought they would wear or like would never think to put on, and then finding them that and then them falling in love with it. It's such a positive feeling, and it's really happy seeing a customer happy over something so little and so not dumb, but like there's a lot of things going on, and I think making someone happy over clothes is so little, but it's really, really worth it, and it really does make that person's day. And clothes really can make you feel good about yourself, and so yeah, I really love helping people in that kind of aspect feel the best about themselves any way I can, especially working in person. Okay, so as much as I love my job and I love being intern here at South Moon Under, and I've worked here for so many years at this point, I mentioned it earlier, but I do have a job with Belk lined up as, well, first I'm doing their retail development program, and then I'm hopefully going to become an assistant buyer. So I do kind of want to try out the corporate retail side of things and see how I like that. I really think if you're interested in owning a boutique or becoming a store manager, this would be such a perfect internship for you. Working in store has been such a cool experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I think it's also a really good beginner kind of thing to try out. I think working in a store environment teaches you so many things, and it's a great job to have. But yeah, I unfortunately will not be working this job after my internship because I have another one lined up. But if I didn't have the Belk job lined up, I would 100% be working here at this job. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.